Melbourne, 40-foot container came from Korea. So head office sent a person up, and then I think we got 2 extra. My friend who's a chippy, and then just another labourer, and then we put all the sims together, built the bar.
So I'd assume for a new franchisee that would be an option now. Like they would have their ex-golf builders and all that stuff. And that's part of
their, they've got preferred kind of builders.
Yeah.
So you're laying the paving for future franchises in Queensland here, eh?
Well, or is it more because you were in so early? Ex-golf probably hadn't matured as a brand yet either. So it was just
they were learning as much as anyone.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. That's kind of some of the fun of starting the new business, right? Though, isn't it? I mean, like in hindsight, you look back on it, and I think some of the stupid, crazy nights we've had with East Coast. And when we've moved premises and
disappeared for 48 hours
and stuff like that. And you just say to your wife, you're like, you're not going to see me for a month.
Yeah.
You know, right? And
oh,
working
great.
She calls up Pedro. I mean, like, he's gone for a month.
I need the pool cleaned.
But like, as wild as that shit that we do, like, as wild as it is, you wouldn't trade
it for anything, right? Because they're the memories and what makes you love that place so much.
And that's the thing, like, for the first probably 6 months, it was Matty and I, and we had our events manager. So Matty and I were high-fiving it. So we're working 7 days a week for fucking 6 months straight, 90 plus hours a week.
Yep.
But the amount you learn in that fucking time is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Like we didn't know fuck all about sim golf, you know. Like so, it's a different. First night we're looking up online, like how much do we have to keep in the till for a float, or how do you settle a fucking
how do you settle an FPOS machine?
Like how do you settle an FPOS machine? We had never fucking had to do it.
And there was no training provided with that. So, well, not in the early days.
No. Back then, there was probably more sim training as like an overarching thing. It wasn't as like in depth.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty wild, but it was great. Like I fucking loved every minute.
Well, that's how you learn, right? Like the fuck around and find out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I found out.
But you see, the kicker to that story is like I had a 9-month-old, a 9-month pregnant wife.
Oh
shit! So I'm literally chasing the clock to get this venue finished because I come from the trade background. So like I come from the trade background, so I'm literally racing the clock so I can get this venue open.
So I can go and do dad stuff. Yeah.
So
first.
Third.
Oh, third.
So timing. So timing has it. Ali had him on the Tuesday and we opened on the Friday. I was literally laying carpet. I was literally laying carpet tiles. And I got the call. It's like time to come home, and because the last one took ages, I'm like,
I'll finish this off.
No.
That corner's not that important.
I stopped carpeting, but I was like, oh, time for a beer with the
Knock on boys.
And when I got home, I went into the fucking hurt locker. I was like, this thing's moving so fucking quick.
He's like, can you drive me? I'm like, man, I had too many beers. I can't drive.
So I had one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a half-hour birth.
Yeah,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like, is that long or short?
That's quick, man.
Oh,
that's
okay.
fucking real
That's
quick,
quick.
dude. That's like in the car on the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
Shit.
Don't get me wrong. She was labouring for longer than that, but
by the time you had a beer and came home,
we were in the tunnel, and like the head's crowning.
Her
dad's driving. I'm in the back seat, and so I think.
What did you do? Put the hands?
So get back in there. Daddy's got some tiling to do.
So I think we were checked in at like 3:10, and he was born at 20 past. Wow. As far as like, it was insane.
Yeah. But then it's such a juggling. Like I think like most of all of us generally, it feels like when we are working, it's just each day's like spinning plates. Like you're just trying to keep everything together and all that. But then that point comes in where sort of the future viability of the family and everything else is then also completely co-existent with setting this thing up on such a narrow timeline.
Yeah,
like it seems like such a thing to juggle, but again, as Rob said, you wouldn't probably trade it for anything.
No.
Like the story you're telling us alone.
So it was a wild ride.
Yeah.
And then to go through all of that, obviously get to market, go through those things, and then go from being 90 hours plus a week in venue, fucking like every single day, and then COVID, it's like business closed, and we're like, what
the fuck?
The fuck?
Yeah.
You know?
And no word on when it's going to reopen.
Yeah,
just
that's
no,
the
no,
universe.
We all know how it went, but like at that time, you're like,
Yeah, what's going
what?
on?
So what was? Give us an insight into what the conversations between you and Matty were like when that happened.
So
Because, I mean, I know what it was like for us. I'm so curious. But we were very fortunate in our other company because we managed to get listed as an essential service.
Yeah.
So we could stay trading under certain regulations. But
Yeah.
for you guys, like
No.
and what was
like
that time
so
like?
the thing for us is because we're a licensed venue, but we're also a sports and rec. So there was some like sports and rec that could be open. There was some this that could be open. When we spoke to the government officials, they're like, "You've just got to take the worst of the two."
Oh, what?
Yeah, so like, it meant
The
like,
worst.
yeah, they're like if there's any because
whatever
it's
way
not-
we think we could fuck you the most.
that's
Yeah.
you need to get fucked that way.
Oh my lord!
I mean, we were super blessed that Matty's family business owned the tenancy. So as soon as things started like going down, it was like rents off.
Rent is-
No,
yeah.
Oh,
Just-
that's good then.
Yeah.
So like that took a big stress away.
Yeah.
And how many staff did you guys have at that time?
We had there was Matty and I, Jess, our events manager, Simo, and I think we had 2 casuals which we couldn't. They wouldn't get the
Of course, yeah.
certification covered. Yeah.
Yeah, because Trimmy didn't come in, because when we interviewed Trimmy as well, he
Yeah.
came in before Noah, I think it was. And then that was during the reopening.
Yeah, he was after, right?
Yeah, he was after.
It was. So Ali was still on maternity leave, so we literally got home and she called her boss and she went back to work, and I was at home with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
One on the nipple, fucking.
Like what a it was
yeah,
fucking
what
it
a-
was
And you
insane,
black
man.
and white.
And
right?
you have no grey hair. Your hair is just delightful.
He's got a couple of
Yeah,
teeth up here.
You're going to get grey hair if you're losing it.
I saw his ass crack earlier. I saw that. That was
Yeah,
very
you
healthy.
That's where all my hair is.
Wow.
And
That's
then,
crazy.
Well, do you mind if I then leading on from that? I know time-wise going to joke, but I think this is interesting in terms of like a paradoxal sort of context. After going through all that, now we know you as a good mate for Noga, but what on earth then persuaded you after all of that, I know we're outside of COVID, to then open a second franchise in Townsville?
Complete sucker for punishment.
You're a masochist. You're a masochist.
We were drunk in Berlin again.
Is that all right, boys? If I said, or did you want to
No. I that's a perfect segue. I'd be interested to hear Blink's thoughts on this because it's so we've all owned or currently own multiple businesses now, and I think you're right.
It's hard enough with one man.
Well, it is, but what's stupid is that like you know how hard one is. What the fuck makes us go?
Hit me with the fucking.
This is a
zip
great
again,
idea. I can do
50
another
times,
one or another venue. Like I think you've got a venue or you don't.
Yeah.
But and it's like that idle hands thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. So
What, resting hands in the devil's playground?
how was the experience of then after everything you went through, being one of the first, to then coming in, opening a second in a venue that you did, or in a
That's
I
basically
guess
what I
like I'm segueing your question.
I basically said the same thing, but sure.
Yeah. How was that experience different second time around?
Completely fucking different.
For better or for worse?
But different.
Different. Yeah. What and why
Because well, okay, so
Because you didn't live up there, Anthony, did you?
no, mate,
Yeah.
we had no ties to Townsville. So
What the fuck?
So we started getting, itchy feet at this point. We're like, you know what? I think we could probably. We always had the idea of going to a multi-venue style model for us personally.
And so this was the overall game plan for you and Matty? Was
Yeah,
there
and
multiple.
Okay, yeah. So we originally were like, we'll do one Brisbane store and then we'll lock down the other Brisbane store.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Is there any benefit to, so some business models or whatnot where there's a financial benefit where there's certain services where you've only got one cost regardless if
Correct.
you've got multiple.
Yeah,
venues.
so
is it like that with next golf?
Well, I mean, if you look at like your marketing and everything, it makes a lot of sense to if you own two for them to be in the same city, because you could split a radio campaign or a TV campaign, and both venues would chip in essentially, or opposed to doing it as a one-off.
But you didn't do that.
But being Brisbane,
No. So
I chose a hard option.
So originally that was what we did want to do.
Yep.
But on the back of COVID and everything that happened, we're like, if we get locked down, that means we'll have two venues locked down, right?
Yeah.
So what's the next biggest regional to Brisbane? Townsville.
Oh, okay.
And what are the benefits to Townsville? One, it's a garrison town, so big military.
Yeah.
So you've got young people with money.
And
Two, it's hot as fuck.
Did some
so
of that
you got
come from because being so close to the Nogra barracks and the military base, at least?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think.
demographic?
Yeah. I do think so. So it found us, but then once we started looking at it, it made sense.
Yeah.
So we were approached by a property developer in Brisbane called Gion. They do a lot of work in Townsville.
Right.
So they were looking to fill tenancies in Townsville. They came to us and said, you know what, like, we like this style of tenancy and we think it would suit the development we've got coming up in Townsville. And we had not thought about Townsville at all. But then once we started looking at those things, and like obviously our experience with, defence, our experience with hot weather up here is fucking gravy. Like
Hot weather, more beers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Air
Cowboys can
space,
drink.
like
Like,
all these things started being on like, oh,
Makes
actually
sense.
this makes sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense is that it's a 15-hour drive away.
So can I ask? But by the time you made that decision with the Townsville store, were you and Matty out of the owner operator kind of
I think that was
mold by then yet? Because obviously,
No, you were running both. You were running both.
or were you running?
no,
both
like
at the
I
same-
think at that point I was working full time in Inogra.
Yep.
Matt was working part time.
Yep.
Because he lives at the coast. Or I think in that period of time he moved to the coast.
Yeah.
So yeah, he went back to part time, but he way better with the back of house kind of shit that
Gotcha.
I don't have to worry about.
He was a bit of a mystery man.
Which is great for me because like
I don't know if
That's it.
Honestly.
I only met Matty for that fundraiser we did that night where we had like remember, was it Tall Josh?
yeah.
Big Joshy, he
Yeah.
came down. So there was that fundraiser we did that night, raffling off stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was this other guy there behind the bar, and I'm just like, oh, he's employed someone. And then he's no, bro, that's me.
Yeah, you start giving the lip to this guy behind the bar. You're like, don't you know who I am? And he's like, bitch, I fucking
So
hate
it's
you.
like he looks pretty similar to me, but more ginger.
He came to Corralbin with us, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
And
and
we met him at Corralbin. He's
he-
a lovely guy.
I'm
like
missed the
like
mushroom.
we.
He goes,
dog.
he goes,
I turned up, but
Yeah, what was that in that video when he gets there? He goes, so Robert, he goes, well, I wasn't late. I missed it.
yeah,
I missed it.
difference between being late for the last and completely fucking
Yeah.
Right, let me be clear.
But you made it. But yeah, that was like the first time I met him, and I'd known you by that point for at least 2.5, probably 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, better.
So to get through this backstory, because I reckon we're going to need to piss in like probably fucking.
Yeah.
Yes.
15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So the
I've already gone,
the
boys.
timeline for Townsville was what in for 2022.
Fuck, I'll have to look it up. So we were 2 years trading at the end of June of this year.
Okay, so.
But
so
I
22, yeah.
but I also believe that so originally that development was due to be completed in October of 21.
Yeah.
And that ended up getting pushed to 22.
So COVID's happened 21, right?
I know. What the
Yeah,
fuck,
no,
man?
I'm just starting to put the time together. Are you fucking insane? Like you've gone through this, so
Dennis the
then
Menace.
yeah, and then you've then gone to open up another
I know.
one.
You're like,
That was a wild ride. Let's
But
fucking
was
fill up.
it opportunities?
Well,
was
no,
just
I don't know.
that? I can't tell you, bro.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think at that point, because
I'm pleading
before COVID had happened, we were like, well, we're going to do multiple venues.
Yeah, so nothing was stopping you. That's what.
And then from this meeting with Gion, and then